Welcome and hello to my tutorial. First of all, let me give you a brief overview so that following along is a little bit more easy. First of all, I cut out the brim out of cardboard to then cover that with material. To stabilize the top, I used wire, decorated the inside with air mesh, and to finish off the hat, I covered the top with more material. Now, as simple as that, come along to all the drilling, sewing, gluing. And you can either sew and glue or only glue if you do not want to sew at all. I tried out both and both worked very well. And here's your step-by-step tutorial. I have a lot of things prepared here that I will use for the witch hat. What I need as a base is this cardboard. I need something to stabilize the point. And since I love to use up what I just have at home, I will try out a couple of these wires. For making holes that I can stick the wires through this round cardboard, this is it. My much beloved Dremel tool. So this drilling tool will help me make holes. Chalk, I will probably glue parts of it. Scissors. Measuring tape. In case I need to stabilize something right away, this is tape. Besides, scissors and knife is always helpful. Tool might decorate the hat. Might. Now I just happen to have air mesh. I thought, okay, it's plastic, but it's also spongy, fluffy, so this goes on the inside. This is the biggest round thing that I can find that pleases me. I would like to have it a little bit smaller, but I can adjust this easily. And this material you all know from the cape. If not, you'll find the how to make the cape video at the end of this video. I'll start out by cutting this. One round shape with the hole out of it. I kept thinking about how the heck do I get my head shape onto that cardboard. And I first thought I'd use the hat, but now I just have this genius idea to make my head form because I have my head right there, you know. Okay, right now this doesn't feel like the most intelligent idea ever so far, but okay, so apparently this is supposed to be my head size. I probably ruined all my hair by now. Oh god. This is supposed to be my head size. This is the outside, but as I said, this is a little bit too big for me. I have to find the zen in this one yet. It really doesn't have to be perfectly round, although it looks really good, but as a witch hat, you know, it's like... So this is absolutely not in the center. Dang! But you know what? That's actually okay. So this is gonna be the front, this is gonna be the back. So I need to remember this. Another method I tried, which also worked, is to determine the radius of the circle, deciding how off-center you want the hole for the head to be, and then go ahead and draw a circle around your head form as you see here. The good thing is when we cut, it doesn't have to look pretty. You're probably all going, why? Why doesn't it have to look pretty? Because it's going to be covered. It's a little bit airy because the mesh is gonna go inside, so I don't know how much that takes away, but if it ends up being too big, I can still add another one ring of mesh so that it's then super soft, squishy to my head, and it fits at the same time. Next up, get your material. Well, I need one piece on the upside, one piece on the downside. On the inside and outside, we need more material for the brim than we actually have in the brim's widths. So you cut a little bit more on the inside and on the outside circle. To cut that into smaller pieces. We do that to attach the material to the cardboard brim piece. So for the inside, I used 1 inch, which is approximately 2.5 centimeters. And for the outside, I used 2 inches and a quarter, which is approximately round about 6 centimeters. You can either glue and do not sew, or you can actually use the sewing machine or hand sewing. If you want to use the sewing machine or hand sewing, the front half here needs only a 1/2 inch allowance or 1.5 centimeters. And here where I draw these red little dots, it will be sewn together to then be pulled over the cardboard brim piece. But if you do not intend to sew and literally want to only glue, then you have to draw the entire seam allowance of 2.25 inches or 6 centimeters around the entire circle. So if you glue, forget the red line and forget the smaller part, just do the entire round bigger. Since I need 2 and I'm lazy, I will fold this and cut out 2 at the same time. Out of here will come a wire that is attached to this one. Out of here, it's attached to this one. This wire goes through here and comes out here and here. This wire comes out here and here. I'll pin this just so that it doesn't move. Here we have our 2 marks for the wire. Do you remember the dots where we're going to stick the wire through? Also mark the top piece, the bottom piece, as well as the front and the back on the material in relation to the cardboard piece. If you don't, you could get into trouble, which I did on my first trial. And of course, the material has to go around this wire. This has to be cut in as far in as you want to have the wire. But here, let me make that more clear. Cutting into where the wire is, you only need this for the top part. The bottom part needs to be only cut up to the actually start of the inside of the brim. Only for the wire, you have to cut over into the brim. This is the end of the brim and this as well. Everything else we are going to cut is only cut until the brim, not over. For the hem seam in the center, I will cut out the inner circle, cut the inner circle into pieces, fold that over, and just sew along that I have a beautiful hem. You know, guys, you just see me actually developing this in the process. Do you also pin the outsides? I have a feeling that could be pretty helpful right now. Always close knives when you put them down. I hope you still have your marks on the top, because this piece we can put aside for a moment and concentrate on the piece for the downside. Take either your glue gun or another material glue or the sewing machine or needle and thread for hand sewing. There are probably a bunch of other options. You know, if you use a hot glue gun, you cannot go into the rain because water stops the hot glue gun from sticking. Anyhow, this is the wrong side. We are going to fold in all our little secure pieces, fold them in as such, inside as outside. Now you can either sew this down Here they are held in place by a simple and fairly narrow running stitch. Or just glue it. Remember, your right side material faces the bottom. This is the right way to fold over. Please be careful when gluing with a hot glue gun, because guess what, guys? It's hot. Who would have thought of that? Back to the cardboard part of the brim. With our holes marked for the wire, I am going to drill holes with my beautiful Dremel tool. Please wear safety goggles and whatever safety stuff you need. I will put the cardboard on top of these two pieces of wood so that I make sure I do not drive into somewhere else, making holes where I do not want holes. For the gluing only hat, I stuck the wire through first. But for the sewing alternative, I put on the material first. But I struggled drilling holes through the material a lot, so 0 out of 10, I do not recommend this. It would be better to do it the gluing only way, to drill the holes into the cardboard, stick the wire through, then put on the material. Or you just have to make holes through the material before you drill the holes. Moving on to the wire. On my first trial I looped it, but that can be actually done more easily and is not necessary. Let me explain. I have one piece of wire. It is twice the length of the height, plus a little extra. The little extra is the part between the holes. If you bend it like so, it will definitely not slide out of the holes anymore. The point of the top, you ask? With the point of the top, we'll deal with that later. For the sewing, I pinked down the seam around the front half of the cover. Latest by now, row on the material. I almost lost my chalk marks on the way. I briefly attached the loose part so that I could turn it over without material slipping off like so. However, as you see, I did find out in the end how to manage to glue the floppy leftover parts down. Around the outside as well as around the inside, to then glue the already prepared or hemmed part on top of that, which ended up being my bottom. Ladies and gentlemen, we get started with the inside. As promised, I will use my mesh. This will be my top corner. I have my chalk. If you saw the cake video, you saw me use the string. So today we need the string from top to bottom. So this is the length. So since this is not particularly round, I will use more mesh and then just see how I have to cut off the bottom. So what I will still do is measure the inside.
I can't measure the outside because this goes on the inside.
So this is my length. This is the inside of my head, but is this actually 21 centimeters? Not centimeters, 21 inches. Yay, it is 21. It's almost an inch longer, which is perfect. But as I said, this is my extra space where I can cut off the bottom. Scissors. You can see it is a lot more narrow than the actual roundness, because I would have had to calculate that in on the sides, which I didn't have because I just took it right from the ankle. Now I can do two things. I can either cut it again, or I can just, in the end, leave it like this because nobody is going to see this. It is going to be covered with purple stuff anyway, but I have to cut this. So in order to cut this, I sew this seam together. I didn't bother for the top. I left the bottom open because this is cut anyway. So there you go. So you know what? I just turned this in. Nobody will see it. And here, I will just fold the edge and hand stitch that on there. The tips up here, I'll just turn in and it'll be fine. I do have one or two standing out. I just pushed them under. If you would ever be worried about those guys being too pointy, you could take sanding paper and sand them off. And now it's time for more fabric. So this is what I intend. A lot of floof. Since I don't really measure this, I can't really give you instructions. The only thing I can tell you is have something like a rounded triangle shape like we had before, and then just try out until you're happy. I could go ahead and just sew this together. I will attach this just for the sake of a little bit nicer shape. Just roughly here by hand. And honestly, I'm not worried about any hems here because this material doesn't really fray. It's just supposed to give it a little bit more structure. This weirdly shaped triangle is going to be sewn from the tip downwards, and you see my right side is on my right side. The question is, do I have to cut this tip off to have a nice tip or not? Probably. Turn around. There we go. What do you see? Not much. This will be wrinkly. You see, like this. Honestly, I'm not happy with this. I'm gonna do it again. Yeah, this is what I was thinking about. So, I will... It's a little bit a lot, actually, but I don't care. I will go for something like this. I'll try it again.
You're suspiciously cute. Ooh.
Update. This is out.
There's so many things in here.
Here's the new one. And I already activated with my hot glue gun because I want to glue it. I don't want to hand sew it today. Oh, there's the back. I don't have to do anything but try and get the point to the point. The tip to stay here. So this is what I'm gonna hot glue. If I ever would want to put lace onto here, I will now simply only attach the back, the front, and the two sides with hot glue gun so that I can take it off very easily. I love the wrinkliness of this. I need to clean this mess, definitely. I'm so happy that you joined me in this video for creating this witch hat, and I hope you have a pleasant time, and I hope you can make one of your own too. If you also made a costume or more costumes, I would love to see it. Here's my Instagram and Facebook. Please hashtag me. I would love to see what you made. If you want to see how I made the cloak, click here. If you want to see how I made the broom, click here. And if you want to see all the fancy outtakes of me and my cats, click here.
Do you dare to see the witch's dance?